For decades, Cillian Murphy has been one of Hollywood's most mysterious and admired actors. A man who captivated audiences not with loud fame or red carpet scandals, but with quiet brilliance. From his haunting eyes in Peaky Blinders to his transformative role in Oppenheimer, Cillian has proven that true power lies in subtlety. Yet behind the curtain of success, there's a deeply emotional story. One filled with loneliness, loss, and the painful cost of chasing perfection. At 49, Cillian's life is far from the glamorous image his fans imagine. While the world sees him as the effortlessly cool Thomas Shelby or the genius scientist shaping history, those close to him know a different side. A man burdened by pressure, haunted by fame, and quietly battling the very system that made him a star. He's often described as reclusive, even distant. But what most people don't know is that Cillian's solitude comes from something far deeper, a struggle with identity, purpose, and the crushing weight of maintaining artistic integrity in an industry obsessed with image. Over the years, the emotional toll of his craft has taken pieces of him that even fame couldn't heal. As friends and co-stars have revealed, Cillian's journey hasn't just been about acting, it's been about survival. The choices he's made, the pain he's endured, and the sacrifices he's hidden all point to a man who gave everything to his art and may have lost too much along the way. Today, as fans revisit his most powerful roles, they're beginning to see the truth behind the characters, because the tragedy of Cillian Murphy is not one he played on screen. It's one he quietly lived in real life, before the fame, before the tailored suits of Thomas Shelby or the somber brilliance of J. Robert Oppenheimer. Cillian Murphy was just a shy young man from Cork, Ireland, who never planned to be an actor. Born in 1976, Cillian grew up in a modest, supportive family. His father worked for the Irish Department of Education, and his mother was a French teacher, far from the Hollywood life he would later lead. In his youth, Cillian dreamed of becoming a musician. He and his brother formed a rock band called the Sons of Mr. Green Jeans, and music was his first passion. Acting at that time wasn't even a thought, but fate had other plans. After being rejected by a record label, Murphy stumbled into acting almost by accident when he joined a drama class at University College Cork. His quiet intensity and natural stage presence caught the attention of local directors, and soon he was offered a role in a small play. The applause, the emotion, and the chance to step outside himself awakened something within him. Acting became his new calling, not for fame, but for expression. By the late 1990s, Murphy was making waves in Irish theater. His breakthrough came in 2002 when Danny Boyle cast him as the lead in 28 Days Later, a post-apocalyptic horror film that became a global hit. Overnight, Cillian went from an unknown Irish actor to one of the most talked-about faces in Hollywood. Yet the sudden fame terrified him. He wasn't ready for the spotlight. He never wanted it. Unlike many rising stars, Murphy wasn't drawn to celebrity parties or red carpets. He preferred quiet evenings, books, and spending time with his wife, Yvonne McGuinness, whom he married in 2004. While Hollywood buzzed with excitement around him, Cillian retreated home to Ireland whenever possible, desperate to stay grounded. He once admitted, "I'm not comfortable being famous. I don't think it suits me." That distance from fame was both his strength and his burden. Directors loved his mysterious aura, but the price of keeping his personal life so private was emotional isolation. He rarely gave interviews, avoided social media entirely, and refused to move to Los Angeles. As his fame grew, his need for solitude grew even stronger. Behind the scenes, however, Cillian's commitment to authenticity was taking a toll. He poured himself completely into every role, losing sleep, weight, and emotional stability to bring realism to his characters. Whether it was the cold-hearted leader in Peaky Blinders or the haunted physicist in Oppenheimer, he didn't just act. He became those people. But that level of transformation came at a cost. Friends have said he often needed weeks to come back after finishing a project, struggling to reconnect with reality. Despite the fame, Murphy often felt invisible in real life. Not because people didn't recognize him, but because they didn't see the real him. The public saw the intensity, the genius, the legend. Few saw the quiet man who missed birthdays, family gatherings, and moments with his children while filming across the world. The tragedy wasn't in his success, it was in how much of himself he lost chasing perfection. Today, Cillian Murphy stands as one of the finest actors of his generation. But his story is not about glamour. It's about the silent price of greatness. Behind the flawless performances and critical acclaim lies a man who constantly battles with fame, identity, and the ghosts of the roles he's played. His journey from a shy musician in Cork to a world-renowned actor is nothing short of extraordinary, yet heartbreakingly human. As Cillian Murphy's fame exploded after 28 days later, his life changed overnight, but not in ways he had ever wished for. The film's success thrust him into international stardom, yet Murphy viewed it less as a victory and more as an unwanted invasion of privacy. Reporters camped outside his home, tabloids dissected his mysterious persona, and fans demanded to know more about the man behind those icy blue eyes. But Cillian wasn't interested in being famous. He just wanted to work, act, and disappear into his characters. He once confessed in an interview, "I find the whole concept of celebrity profoundly uncomfortable. I think it's a dangerous thing." That statement defined the next 2 decades of his life. While his peers embraced Hollywood's glamour, Cillian rejected it completely. He refused to move to Los Angeles, choosing instead to stay in Ireland, where he could walk his kids to school without being photographed. In an industry that thrives on exposure, Cillian's choice to stay invisible was both admirable and isolating. In the mid-2000s, his growing reputation as a versatile actor earned him roles in Batman Begins, The Wind That Shakes the Barley, and Inception. Working with directors like Christopher Nolan elevated his career even higher, but with each success came deeper withdrawal. Co-stars often described him as polite, soft-spoken, and incredibly focused, but also distant. He avoided the after-parties, skipped celebrity events, and rarely socialized outside of work. His Peaky Blinders co-star, Helen McCrory, once said, "Cillian doesn't need the noise. He's not interested in pretending. He's just there to do the work." And that's exactly what defined him. On set, he was a perfectionist, rehearsing tirelessly and diving into character until there was nothing left of himself. Off set, he was quiet, introspective, and sometimes melancholy. A man who found peace only in silence. Yet, this pursuit of authenticity began taking a personal toll. Cillian's commitment to his roles often meant spending months away from home. Filming Peaky Blinders in the UK while his family lived in Ireland left him emotionally torn. He missed his son's early years and milestones, birthdays, first days of school, quiet dinners, all sacrificed for art. In a rare interview, he admitted, "It's not easy being away for long stretches. It's a big sacrifice, but it's part of the job." As Peaky Blinders became a global sensation, Cillian's image as Thomas Shelby, the cold, ruthless leader, became iconic. But fans rarely saw the irony. Cillian Murphy, the man, was nothing like his character. He wasn't power-hungry or domineering. He was quiet, humble, and deeply private. Yet the intensity of Shelby began to blur the line between fiction and reality. For years, he carried the weight of that character, both emotionally and psychologically. Even after the show's end, Cillian struggled to shake off the darkness of Shelby. "You live with him for so long that he seeps into you," he said once. "You start thinking like him, moving like him. It's hard to let go." That emotional entanglement often left him drained, unable to fully separate his real self from the roles he played. While most actors thrive on fame and the adoration of fans, Murphy viewed it as a burden. He often avoided public appearances and interviews, letting his work speak for itself. But behind that decision was a profound sadness, a realization that the very thing that brought him global respect also distanced him from the simple joys of life. At 49, Cillian's legacy is undeniable. Yet, beneath the accolades and awards lies a man who constantly questions if it was all worth it. Was the art worth the loneliness? Was perfection worth the silence? These questions have haunted him for years and form the core of the tragedy that defines his life today. Behind Cillian Murphy's carefully maintained privacy lies a man who has paid a heavy personal price for his craft. While the world celebrates his performances, few realize the emotional toll of inhabiting the dark and complex characters he is drawn to. From Thomas Shelby in Peaky Blinders to the tormented figures in his earlier films, Murphy immerses himself completely, often at the cost of his own mental and emotional well-being. Friends and co-stars have often noted that Cillian doesn't just act, he transforms. He disappears into his characters, abandoning much of himself in the process. After filming intense scenes, he sometimes retreats into silence, needing days or even weeks to return to his real life. While this dedication earns him accolades and admiration, it also isolates him from the world outside his craft. He is, by his own admission, haunted by the roles he chooses. This commitment to authenticity has had a direct impact on his family life. Married to artist Yvonne McGuinness, Cillian is a devoted father, but his work often takes him far from home for extended periods. Missed birthdays, school events, and quiet evenings at home have been a constant sacrifice. Those closest to him describe him as deeply loving but burdened by guilt. A man torn between the pursuit of his art and the responsibility of being present for his children. Cillian has also spoken about the mental strain of fame. He avoids social media entirely and gives interviews sparingly, not out of arrogance, but to maintain emotional stability. He has said, being famous is like wearing someone else's skin. It doesn't feel real, and it's exhausting. This careful distance has allowed him to continue working on high-profile projects while protecting his personal life, but it also contributes to the sense of isolation that has defined much of his adulthood. His choice of roles has further reinforced this isolation. Many of the characters he plays are intense, morally complex, or emotionally tortured. While the performances are celebrated, Murphy often carries the weight of these roles long after filming wraps. Co-stars have recounted moments when he would leave the set visibly drained, silent, and introspective. It's a testament to his craft, but also a glimpse into the hidden cost of bringing such characters to life. Even in his rare public appearances, Cillian's demeanor reflects a man acutely aware of the fragility of life and the fleeting nature of fame. While the world sees him as enigmatic and magnetic, behind closed doors he grapples with the same fears, regrets, and desires for connection that touch us all. Those who know him well describe him as kind, humble, and intensely private. A man who prefers meaningful relationships over the fleeting adoration of the public. At 49, Cillian Murphy stands as one of the most respected actors of his generation. Yet his story is defined as much by sacrifice and solitude as it is by talent and acclaim. The tragedy is not that he succeeded. It is that the very qualities that made him extraordinary also demanded a level of emotional payment few can imagine. This is the story of a man who gave everything to his art, sometimes at the expense of his own happiness, and whose quiet struggles remind us that the life of a genius is rarely without pain. As Cillian Murphy approaches 50, he faces a reality that few of his fans fully understand. While the world admires him for his intense performances and commanding presence on screen, the quiet moments of his life tell a very different story. One of reflection, struggle, and the constant effort to maintain balance. The very talents that have made him a celebrated actor have also demanded immense personal sacrifice, leaving him to navigate fame, family, and the shadows of his own mind. Murphy's commitment to privacy has only deepened over the years. Unlike many stars, he avoids social media, rarely gives interviews, and chooses projects carefully, ensuring that his work aligns with his personal values. For him, acting is more than a career. It is a form of expression, a way to explore human complexity, and an outlet for emotions that might otherwise remain unspoken. Yet the intensity of this immersion often leaves him emotionally drained. Those closest to him have described him as someone who can disappear for days after a demanding role, quietly processing the weight of the character he has inhabited. Despite the solitude, Cillian has managed to build a supportive and loving family life. His marriage to artist Yvonne McGuinness has endured the pressures of fame and long periods apart. Together, they have raised their children with a sense of normalcy and stability that Cillian deeply values. Friends often remark that his family is his anchor, the one constant that keeps him grounded amid the whirlwind of Hollywood. Still, even with their support, he acknowledges the cost of his career on personal relationships. He has missed milestones and quiet moments, often wrestling with the guilt of absence, even as he chases excellence on screen. Beyond family, Murphy has quietly devoted himself to causes that matter to him, including arts education and mental health awareness. These efforts reflect a desire to make a lasting impact beyond his filmography, a testament to a man who measures success not only in accolades but in meaningful contributions to the world. The tragedy of Cillian Murphy lies not in his accomplishments, but in the quiet, unseen sacrifices behind them. He has given audiences some of the most unforgettable performances of his generation, yet those achievements come with the emotional toll of isolation, pressure, and self-expectation. Fame has brought admiration, but also the subtle heartbreak of moments lost, relationships stretched, and personal struggles kept private. Still, there is hope. Those who know him well describe Cillian as finding peace in his own way, through family, art, and quiet reflection. He has learned to accept that the life he chose is both a gift and a burden, embracing the complexities that come with being extraordinary. In the end, Cillian Murphy's story is a reminder that even the brightest stars carry shadows, and that true humanity lies in balancing brilliance with vulnerability. At 49, the tragedy of Cillian Murphy is heartbreaking, not because he failed, but because he gave so much of himself to a world that often only sees the surface. Yet in that very sacrifice, there is beauty, depth, and a legacy that will endure far beyond the screen. The man behind the characters has lived a life of quiet heroism, proving that sometimes the greatest stories are the ones we carry inside.